is poppin', y'all? My name is Nicolette and welcome to my channel. So today I want to be talking about how to start your self-healing journey. Listen, this is a crazy time right now. We're living in the middle of a pandaloom, of a Panda Express, of a Pandagonia, a fucking pandemic, okay? So this is not normal times. Although yet it's starting to become our new normal. I refuse to believe that we're going to be stuck in this situation for much more longer, but I feel like we just got to deal with what's in front of us right now, and you being here and starting this journey, or at least just hearing what I have to say, is just a good first step. For me, self-healing looked very messy, tell you the truth, because I'm not a professional. I had never been to a therapist when I first started, because here in California, or basically in the United States, therapy is very expensive. So I really hope that the government or healthcare gets better in this country so that more people have more access to therapists and to help with and tools to help with their mental health, because it is so important to really process what's going on in here and in here, and having professionals to guide you through that is a lot more structured than it was for me trying self-healing, right? Or starting my self-healing journey. Now, I feel like it was messy for me because I just had so much to unpack. I'm 33 years old and I dealt with a lot when I was younger, and then now that I'm a mother and a wife, I have all these other things that I have gone through now as an adult. And since I've been a mom, postpartum depression with all three of my sons, dealing with grief now as an adult, and now with other little tiny humans and a husband that depends on me, so that healing process looked a lot different than when I was younger. So now I feel like, though, that I have the tools, and I just started therapy this past October. So I'm starting to get into, I feel like, a little bit more structure of my self-healing journey. So I feel like now that I've started to do things on my own, I figured that I would come on here and maybe something that I say would inspire you or encourage you to do the same for yourself. Because especially right now during this pandemic, it is so essential and so critical to maintain yourself and your self-care, self-love, self-healing. I feel like for me as women, we have been conditioned, right? Or at least from my experience, that being selfless is what's expected of me. And the word selfish has such a bad connotation, but when you really truly start to help yourself first and fill your cup up first, truly that love, all that goodness overflows into every other aspect in your life, whether that is your spouse, your kids, your partner, your parents, your family, work, whatever that looks like, you are now able to help others. That's why they have that, if you've ever been on a plane before or on a flight, before they start, they let you know that in case of emergency, you put the oxygen over your face first and then your child, because you are able to help your child if you are taken care of first. So whether that is a cheesy analogy or whatever, but that is true and that is real life. And I feel like for me as a mom, that is something that I have truly been sticking to my guns for the past couple of years, because unless I am good, my whole family is not good, and all that energy and all that directly affects them. So it is my mission to love on me, because all that love will also fall onto my sons. And that doesn't mean that I'm fully neglecting everyone, but it is putting boundaries on certain situations, on certain people, allowing access and how much of that access you allow to those around you, and also that you take time for yourself to breathe. And I feel like during this pandemic, it is so essential to take that time. And although if you feel like you're not able to do that, I understand also. If you were just feeling like you were surviving at this point, that is also something that is completely fine and okay. So if you're not ready to start this self-healing journey, don't worry. There is no judgment here. But I understand, because you're probably frustrated. You're probably not feeling your best self, or you just feel like you're just trying to get through what is happening right now. Especially if you're an essential worker or a frontline worker, my heart totally goes out to you, because it has been such a crazy long experience. And hopefully sometime this year that we experience some relief, because I know that so many of you are experiencing so much burnout, especially those that are working in hospitals, that are working in healthcare, that are working with our kids, that are teachers, that are in education. My heart truly goes out to you. So I totally understand, and I totally sympathize that this may not be the time that is right for you, because you were just truly trying to just survive. But I do want you to know that with surviving, you can thrive also. So revisit this video if this does resonate with you, but just not right now. I encourage you just to come back, and that is totally fine, because that is what's so beautiful of a self-healing journey, is that you are able to press play on that journey and no one else. So for me, during this time, I guess I was, because I had experienced so much grief when I was younger, I felt like I had carried all of that into my teenage years. And then with me going through a lot of grief, and I wanted to do a separate video for my grief journey also, but just to summarize, my brother was brutally murdered when I was around 9 and 10 years old. It was around my birthday, so I was about nine and a half. Then that was also something that I did not have the tools to cope with, and I was, to tell you the truth, so young to even understand the gravity of what happened, and that my older brother wasn't coming home anymore. Then when I was in my early teens, so 13, 14, 15, I was partially caregiver for my grandparents, who I love so dearly, my Lola and my Lolo. My grandmother and my grandpa had their own issues, but we lost my grandmother first. My Lola passed away, and I was one of the ones who was in the room when she took her last breath, and I was the last person that she looked at. And to see life leave her body, one of my most favorite people in this world, on this earth, see that life come out of her and that the light leave her body, it was the most gut-wrenching experience in that moment. Now I reflect back and realize that I was truly blessed to be there, seeing her go on to the next life. But at that moment, I was very sad and very devastated with what happened, because I was truly very young still. And 11 months later, I lost my grandfather also. And that was also something that was just so heart-wrenching and gut-wrenching for me. It was so terrible. And I carried all that grief without even processing it, and just continuing life. And in that itself is so traumatic, right? Because the most important people in my life were gone. And were gone in their own most tragic and devastating ways. And that was something that I did not learn how to cope with. And I really wish I did, but it's okay, because I'm here now, and I know that it is now my mission to help others do the same, whatever type of grief and whatever type of trauma you have experienced. But with this added layer of this pandaloom, this pandemic is just even more stressful. So hopefully I can inspire you to take some just little bit of steps. It's more like self-care things, and there's really no there's no right or wrong way on how to do this. This is more about what fits your routine. What do you like doing? What do you feel like is the most best or safest way for you to start? And to even just take this step to even look up self-healing videos on YouTube and to take that time for yourself is an amazing first step. And I'm so proud that you are here, because that first step of being aware is a big accomplishment in itself, to realize that you have been going through this and that none of this is your fault. You are not broken from this. You are not far from saving. You are worth love again. You are worth loving yourself again. You are worth peace. And I feel like for me, this is going to be a journey that I'm going to be on for the rest of my life. This is not a one-stop shop. I might not be in therapy for my whole life, but I'm going to stay in it until I feel like I am ready to move on to the next thing. But there's no definite answer. There is no playbook for this. Just people's experiences. So if you relate to my story or to the next girl next to me or to the next person after this video, whatever it may be, do what feels right for you, because only you know what right and what feels good to you. So for me, doing things like taking necessary steps. So for me, I wanted to get to a place of feeling happy again, of feeling good again. And one of my favorite things was to watch comedy movies when I was younger, because that is something that I did with my parents, and they would take us to go watch in the movie theaters and at home. So I would look up my favorite comedians on YouTube and just watch all of their, the best of Bernie Mac, the best of Monique, the best of Martin Lawrence, the best of Eddie, like all those things, the best of Joe Coy. All of that stuff helped me just get that feel good back into my body again. Now, that's not to say that my life has been depressing, because I don't want it to sound like that either, because I'm definitely grateful for what I have, and grateful for my sons, grateful for my husband, grateful for my parents, and for my extended family around me, my brother, all of that. But that is not to say that all of that has been happening in my brain and manifesting in my body is, that I should just forget all of that because I have so much to be grateful for. Absolutely not. You can totally be grateful and still feel like all of this is not enough. You know what I mean? And I just want to come into harmony with those two things in my life, that I'm so grateful for what I have, but yet I know that I am capable of peace and able to take these steps. So that's what I started to do. I started to do all those comedy things. I love Def Jam poetry, so diving deep into that, and so many beautiful words of affirmation, so many voices that talked about self-love and self-worth, and that was just beautiful to watch. Def Jam comedy also helped, like I said, laughing and just not numbing what I was feeling, but definitely just trying to get those endorphins going, feeling good in here was the main goal for me. And so starting to move out of that, I did a lot of journaling. Now, that is not something that I did consistently, because quite frankly, it was more time consuming to do that. But when I released what I was feeling in that moment, if it was feeling sad, resentful, angry, bitter, whatever it may be, that went onto my journal, right? But for you, journaling may not be, feasible. Maybe talking to your phone, doing a voice memo, and re-listening to it, or maybe not even listening to it, just pressing record, seeing that it's there, and then deleting it might be a good release for you, whatever that may look like. There's also notes on your phone. You could also type things out in there, writing it to your email, sending it to yourself, or just putting it into drafts. Whatever that looks like, doing what makes you feel good is so important. And then doing things like meditation. I did a lot of guided meditations from Calm and Headspace. I definitely didn't do the things that required paying a subscription. So I just took advantage of like the free things that they had on those apps, and slowly doing things like guided meditations to help the noise to go to sleep, because that's one of the things that I had, which I felt like was a manifestation of a lot of unprocessed things, which was my poor lack of sleep, right? So a lot of what I wasn't dealing with was manifesting as me having insomnia and me having a hard time going to sleep, because I had so much noise going in here and for no place for it to go, because I wasn't someone that would be able to confide in someone else. My husband is my best friend, but I know that he also goes through his own things. So for me, it was very hard. It's very hard for me to let go and to just express truly what's happening in here. So I did at the time. Now I'm not saying this is something that I recommend, because this is not for everybody, but for me, instead of doing the voice memo, I learned about the Anchor app, and that's where I started my podcast. I felt like I needed to share, but I didn't truly think that I was gonna press send and for it to go out into the platform. I did it by accident on my first episode, but that came from a place of, oh my God, I can't believe I pressed send, but we're doing this, right? So I'm so thankful, because 20 something plus episodes later on my second season, it has helped a variety of different people from all types of walks of life, and hopefully helped them on their journey and inspired them. And the amount of DMs I get on episodes that I have done is just a blessing, and I'm just thankful that I had the courage to press play and actually do it. Although the extreme to do a podcast, I understand you are not required to do that, but you never know. Being able to hear yourself speak your story is probably one of the most powerful things. I also dove into Eft Tapping, which is the emotional freedom technique where you press on, just think about acupuncture, where there's a bunch of pressure points all over your body where they insert their needles, but instead of inserting needles, you are tapping on meridian points on your body to help move energy, help remove blocks, limiting beliefs, stagnant energy, whatever that looks like. So I totally recommend looking that up. That is something that I'm also going to be sharing here on this channel. So hopefully you come back and see that. I'll be doing that very soon. So that was something that totally helped me with processing a lot of what I have been feeling. And taking time for yourself and falling back in love with yourself. Listen, it may not have been grief or loss or tragic things that may have happened to you. It could be something as having a breakup, or, you know, having to be estranged from certain people in your life, from family members, from partners, from different friendships, whatever that may look like. Those are things that are also very traumatic. So you have to find that peace again, find what makes you happy again. So what does that look like? So YouTube is such a great resource. Pinterest is such a great resource. And of course, Google's a great resource. So finding the things that feel good to you. Maybe it's even taking a walk around your block. Although I used to do gratitude walks in the morning pre-COVID, but it's something that if you're able to do it safely, if you're able to do it, go on a hike or take a trip out into nature or whatever it may be, even treating yourself to a safe spa day, whatever that may be, and doing self-care routines, maybe that will help you. So what does self-care look like to you? What does falling back into love with yourself look like to you? And then what is starting your self-healing journey? I am excited that if you do choose to start taking the necessary steps to start processing the things that you've been going through and to come to a place of feeling good and feeling better, not necessarily feeling positive and happy all the time, but you can come from a place where it may feel like shit right now. It may not feel the greatest right now, but I know that things will get better. I know that this situation that I'm in will not last this long. So to be able to come to a place where you even have that type of way of thinking, that is a beautiful step. That is growth. That is allowing peace into your life. So hopefully I was able to help on this video. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. Please hit that like button. Leave me a comment below what touched you in this video, what was helpful, what does self-healing and self-love, what does that look like for you? And what has been the things that have been challenging, not just in your childhood and in when you were younger, but what has been challenging in this situation that we have been in this pandemic? What are the things that have been hard to get back into the routine of? I am excited to hear what you guys have to say, and hopefully I'll be able to help some. So I am so thankful for all of you for taking the first step and watching this video. I appreciate all of you, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.